What's good, folks? You're listening to Development Shit, the pod that talks about the highs and lows of growth. Take a deep dive into life's lessons with a dash of humor with your hosts, Mell and B.
Hey, it's a party, it's a party, it's a party. Hey, beautiful.
It's a party.
Hey, beautiful, beloved, gorgeous people. Can I say that this is our season finale, which means that this is episode 10. And I remember when we were at 0, and this was just a thought. Actually, this episode is going to be so much fun as we take time to reflect on the many lessons learned through the development of this podcast, and we'll talk about how we have changed since creating it. So, Mel, go ahead and get us started, girl.
Yes, so this podcast journey has been a wild ride. Okay, but in the best possible way. I went in kind of blind, really, not knowing all of the behind the scenes work that goes into it.
Honey, we both went in the thing blind.
Yeah, two blind mice. It's much more than just talking or having a conversation. You know, when you talk on the phone, there's no format. It's very organic, impromptu. And I found out that having a conversation for an audience is going to take some planning and intentionality.
Yes,
but it's been fun. Yes, it got to be intentional. But it's been fun discovering the podcast community. There was a lot of research that we did individually and together to get this idea off the ground. And if you know me, I'm a lifelong learner, so I definitely didn't mind the research aspect. We were learning a lot of shit as we went along too. So thank God, B had an edge on the recording app and all that. She let me know what kind of mics we needed to get, headphones to get, and everything.
Girl, we got our laptops that we didn't even have. I mean, we ain't had nothing.
nothing but the idea. That was it. No equipment.
Nothing.
But once we started getting things, I started feeling like a real professional. And I remember getting boxes in the mail, sending pics to B like a little kid. I enjoyed when we were listening to tracks, trying to find our music for our intro and our outro. It was exciting. Got our podcast cover art, our idea and vision really started coming to life. I know when we first started planning our episodes, I barely wrote anything down thinking, yeah, I'm just going to wing it with a couple of key points. No, ma'am.
They lied, child. They lied.
Yes, they did. But I'm truly proud of our growth as hosts of a motherfucking podcast. We did that shit. We've come a long way. And you've been doing the damn thing with the recording, editing, all the technical stuff. Yes, we've gotten so much better planning our dialogue. And I believe I've gotten better at engaging our followers on social media. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I have to mention our online store. As soon as we started recording on a regular, B hit the ground running with our development and shit online store, designing her ass off. Okay,
hey.
I was like, come through, merch. If you have not, checked out our online store and merchandise, first of all, where have you been? But head right over to developmentandshit.com and shop. Okay, support our Black-owned business.
Yes, beloved, support us, Black women entrepreneurs, and rock your favorite podcast.
Yes. But on a real note, I love being a creative with you and working on a project. Beloveds, B and I haven't worked together on a project since we were in our 20s, I think. Mm-hmm. And when we put together a program or event back then, let me just say it was bussin'.
Hey, bussin'.
And we still got the juice. We can only go up from here. I mean, can you believe our podcast is distributed on major platforms? Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and some platforms we ain't even heard of.
I felt like a whole recording artist that had their first song on the radio. I mean, I was that hype, y'all. I mean, that hype. OMG.
Indeed.
OMG. We have a whole podcast, y'all. Mel, let me say that again, because you know I love a good repeat, like I'm some pastor. OMG, we have a damn podcast, Mel. What started off as an idea to share our long phone conversations because they were long, y'all, has now turned into a full podcasting machine. I mean, I remember us coming up with the name of our show, and that was really cute because Melanie was sending me names like The Spiral Effect, Take Me Down the Ladder, Lead Me Through the Green Pastures, you know, the Green Waters, names like that. And I was like, nope. I was thinking of something a little bit more simple, something inclusive. And I was like, what are we really trying to say? Spit it out. And she was like, development and shit. And I was like, that's it. That's the name of the show. And it was like the heavens opened up. The angels started to sing. We was like, that's it. Developing a podcast is no joke, but can be done. As you can see, we have done it. We had to order our mics, as Mel said, download software. And we had no idea what either of us was doing, but we did have it in there. And so I know Mel literally put in the search box, how to start a podcast.
Facts. You know me, girl.
I mean, we thought we were just going to start jumping on the mics and start doing what we were going to do and talk to and bouncing off of one another. So much so that, like Mel was saying earlier, we really did not have any notes, y'all. I mean, like, we was like, let's go.
Yeah, script just bare.
Script all the way bare. But no, ma'am, you have to put in work and plan like you got some sense is what we kind of found out. And we quickly figured out that we needed to write everything down because our memories are so bad that we couldn't remember what we wanted to say at a certain reaction, and it didn't have that same initial reactions for the comments. So writing stuff down actually was a serious game changer for us recording the podcast. There wasn't as many and as I had the role of the producer, and so cutting out and so much had dwindled down to pretty much nothing. And now I think we have our groove, and we even know what we're going to say when we're signing off. So that's been kind of cool. And let me just tell you, Mel has been doing an amazing job at heading our social media. She started the process of engaging our audience, and she did the damn thing with our cover art, let me just say. And the intro to the podcast was also Mel's creativity. She is literally a creative masterpiece. But basically, I'm super proud. Oh, I love you. All I can say is that I'm super proud of where we started and where we are now. Podcasting is like anything else that is new to you. You have to make many mistakes. You have to take the shots. You have to keep on taking the shots to get it right. And we're still learning something new every day. I mean, some of the lessons are free, child, but other ones are costly. And that's okay. However, what I will say is that we're doing it. We didn't give up, and we're actually developing and shit in real life.
And for real, it is not a game.
Not at all. We also want to highlight our personal journeys while we were going through this. So Mel, what was your personal journey like during this process?
So we started preparing for this podcast in October, and my personal life has gone through some pretty significant changes since then. I was fresh out of a relationship. I was battling depression. I was also dealing with anxiety and frustration with my profession. It was a lot going on for me emotionally, and I was desperately trying to figure out my next right move, what the right path was for me in my career and my personal goals. My son had just gone off to college a couple months before, so it was just me, baby girl, fur baby. And I was in the middle of a huge transition. I knew the transition was good. I felt it was good, but I was still in a sunken place. As we started working on the podcast, it really gave me a sense of purpose and gave me something to look forward to. And I also pushed myself to finish the draft of my novel that I've been working on for like 6 whole years.
Yes, novel.
As I let go of my relationship and took responsibility for where I found myself, I really started to see myself more. I started having all of these personal revelations and epiphanies. I took some serious spiritual inventory and found what was lacking, and I really actively started working on my healing. Over the last 6 months, there has been a tremendous amount of growth and development for me.
And I can attest to the growth, and I'm so super proud of you, Mel.
Thank you, B. I realized that I was passing down my trauma to my kids, too. That really hit me. I had to start listening to my oldest and getting over my hurt feelings and being defensive so I could really hear what he was saying and validate his feelings and his experience. I learned that my actions affect my children in more ways than I know. One might think, you should know this already, right? You're in your 40s. But I really... I was lying to myself. I thought I was shielding my kids, but I wasn't. I realized that the very things that I tried not to do, I was doing subconsciously. And I would assume that they knew that I knew what they wanted based on my own childhood experiences, but they're different and they have their own experience and their child, they're not me. And I knew from some other struggles that I was having, I was not present for my children the way I needed to be. And the biggest aha for me was realizing that due to my abandonment issues, I love my children at arm's length.
Wow. That's really, really deep, because if you met her children, they are some of the most amazing kids, young adult that you have ever met. So you really have done a lot right, a lot of right things. I mean, so give yourself a little credit, girl.
I appreciate you for saying that. What I think is that it was like I was always trying to prepare them to be without me. And then I'm also protecting myself from hurt, if something happened to them. And my connection to my children is not what I would consider to be probably average, just because I didn't have that connection with my mom. And it was a learning curve, basically, for me. But now I'm on the path to healing and mending my relationship with my children. I'm healing my inner child, which is a lot of inner work. Therapy, good books is helping me with that. And believe it or not, y'all, in the midst of all the chaos, I managed to maintain an A average while working on my PhD in education. Your girl is going to be Dr. Miller 2022.
Hey, stunting like my daddy. I'm going
to be stunting like my daddy. It's coming, y'all, before this year is over. Do you hear me? Currently working on my dissertation now, so I'll give more details later as I progress. But working on my doctorate has been a 3-year journey. And it's all because I want to be a part of education reform. When I first started teaching, I thought I would retire teaching. That was the plan. 30 years, I'm going to retire. After about 5 years in, I started to feel like I wanted to do, I was like, maybe not. But I wanted to do more and expand my reach. And this school year, I started putting in for different roles within my district, trying to transition into a leadership position, chasing the things that I was passionate about. Well, let's just say no doors open. However, the drive's still there, will's still there. So one day it hit me. I'm like, ever since I graduated from college, I've had the mindset of having a job. Looking for somebody else to give me an opportunity. So you know what I said, B?
What you say, girl?
I said, I'm going to make my own opportunities. Okay. I don't need nobody to give me an opportunity. Who am I waiting on? I'm waiting on myself.
Yes,
I'm the one that I've been waiting for.
You better come on, girl.
So I have all this education. I know how to use my resources, and I'm unstoppable
girl.
when I put my mind to do something.
Yes. Unstoppable.
So all these positive mindset shifts that I've had, I'm getting control of my finances, saving, investing. I started an online business called Lip by Mellenee.
Go check it out,
I'm working on creating, yes, it's on Etsy. Working on creating several streams of income, but I'm loving my present and I'm excited for the future, y'all. Let's talk about your journey, B.
Well, let me just say that
Tell the people about your journey.
Hold on. So Lip by Mellenee is on ST, guys. And go cop a t-shirt or cop some throw pillows,
a hoodie
or something.
Some throw pillows.
I mean, you are really supporting some Black women entrepreneurs, and it's amazing. So check it out. A lot of sayings, the gag is Mel is the literal. She'll come up with a saying. I keep on saying that's shirtable. That needs to go on a coffee cup. So definitely go check out her stuff. I'm so excited for you. But I've just to tell about my journey a little bit through the process of building this podcast is I have always been a dreamer and a creative and a doer, sort of, have a thought and hey, I'm going to go after it. I'm going to try it. And so, but at this, around this time in October, I literally had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Like, I had no idea. I didn't have a plan. And I was actually okay with the idea of not having my mindset. I mean, I didn't have to answer to anybody. And I really just had to sit with myself and figure it out. But what I did experience was ideas and creativity started creeping in my mind. And I started to think of the possibilities. And when I was developing the BGM real estate fund back in 2008, I would always wonder what it would be like if we had a camera following us our every move, like if they were following us, our every move and showing the good, the bad, and the ugly of building a business from scratch. I used to always kind of think about what would that be like. So, and people see the good, they see the prize, the finished products that we post on social media. But I always wondered, people want to see, how did you get there? I mean, who was with you? during the trying nights and the early morning crying sessions. And so the idea came from the need to see the ugly of what we're all going through during some crazy experiences.
Yes, because nobody wants to talk about the ugly, or they're ashamed